government officials insist the mission isolated in the
isn't over. Today we're talking about Christmas movies, and specifically what the best one of all time is. Indisputably, and it's a little bit of a surprise. And I shot a little thing that's gonna reveal what it is, and like I said, it's indisputable, so it's the end all be all of reveals. And that's coming up shortly here. And I'm not going to be wearing this hat the whole time because I'm already burning up. So, 1 second. It's better. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. So, the best Christmas movie of all time. Any guesses? If there's anyone in the chat right now, go ahead. Start throwing them out there. And of course, the usual. I just got pushed back a couple times, but actually just because I was sick. Just in time for Christmas, and I'm still sick, but good enough to do this where my voice doesn't sound too terrible. So, yeah, here I am. So, hope everyone had a good Christmas. I sure did. Me and my family. It's a Wonderful Life. That's a pretty good guess. That's a good movie. And I would just preface this by saying there's a lot of good Christmas movies out there, but there's only one that can be the king. And like I said, we're getting there. But it's a Wonderful Life. That's a good guess. Very good guess. So we'll just throw some names out there. What do we got here? We have It's a Wonderful Life, Die Hard. Let me just say that again. A Christmas Story, A Christmas Carol, I'll Be Home for Christmas. I only say that one because I happen to be surfing the channels, and that one's there on Disney because that's my life with kids. And Christmas Carol, of course, there's multiple versions of that. Elf, Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, Bad Santa 1 and 2. What else we got here? There's a bunch of little Hallmark movies. There's like 30 of them that get released every year. Christmas with the Cranks. Home Alone 1 and 2. Yeah, there's a bunch. But like I said, there's only one king. So you know what? Scrooge. Yeah, Scrooge. Is that the one with Bill Murray? That's one. Not gonna lie, I really like Elf, and Christmas with the Cranks. Still makes me laugh. Well, you know what? Without further ado, let's just get into it, okay? A Christmas Tale that's original to this year that Santa blessed me with, and it reveals the one true king of Christmas movies. Let's get into that. I'll see you soon.
Little house on the cold, snowy lane lived a man with a question that tickled his brain. With a head full of nothing and socks on his feet, he sat by the fire on his overstuffed seat. Oh, what is the best Christmas movie to see? The one that's most festive and perfect for me? He pondered and puzzled. He scratched at his head, then grabbed his old blanket and slumped in his bed. Could it be Elf with its magical cheer, and Buddy the Elf spreading joy far and near? Or maybe Home Alone, where young Kevin defends his home from two burglars with traps that upend? He leapt to his feet with a look in his eye and searched through his notes piled up high. Is it Prometheus? He muttered, then gave a small grin. It's set during Christmas, so that counts as a win. Then he thought of old classics, the stories of yore, like It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, the tears that it bore, and the Grinch with his heart that grew 3 sizes big, as he learned Christmas joy wasn't wrapped up in a gig. I've got Bad Santa too, and that Santa sure does fly, and the Muppet Christmas Carol, oh my, with Kermit and Gonzo and Marley in chains. That movie's a treasure that always remains. He spun and he twirled, feeling stuck in his mind. The best Christmas movie? There wasn't just one kind. He pleaded to Santa to help him with this when suddenly he heard. Ho, ho, ho!
Santa? Now I know the best Christmas movie. Ho, ho, ho. I don't know if you're trying to tell me something, Santa, but I don't get it. Kind of a weird joke.
Bro, are you seriously not getting it?
No, I don't know what's going on here, man.
Dude, you even read it in his accent. Good. Ho, ho, ho. You don't get it.
No?
Die Hard, man. It's the best Christmas movie of all time.
Oh, man. That is Die Hard.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, of course that's the best Christmas movie.
Hey, welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah. Hey, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hey, what do you think I am, ordering a pizza?
All right, that's enough. Don't be a fucking loser. Let's go. There it is. Indisputable king. Die Hard. So why is it the best Christmas movie? Well, we're going to hear from the creator himself, John McTiernan, on why he thinks that is. Why I think it is because it's just a fucking awesome movie, and it's set during Christmas. And there's something really cool about that, because it's not, it doesn't fall into the tropes and the cliches of Christmas movies, just like any genre. It's, an action movie that's set in Christmas, but it's not just the setting, because there's other movies that do that. It ties it in a really great way. Obviously, it's kind of starts out with that setup in the beginning. You see Christmas decorations. There's the moment where he sends the bad guy down the elevator with the sign written to his chest and the Christmas hat. And then, of course, the ending ends on a Christmas song. It's just a really great way to do it. And the fact that it's not, the traditional Santa's coming to town and blah, blah, blah. It's just the best Christmas movie of all time. They did it without even trying. And, yeah. So that's that. Nothing else even comes close. Yes, you sure did. Many people know that that's it, but for those that don't, now you know. Now you know. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie of all time. And if you come into this live late, I highly encourage you to rewind to watch that, or watch it later whenever you can. But, you know, before I delve deeper into this, let's hear from the man himself what he has to say. The director, John McTiernan. Of course, there's that very iconic shot and image. Go to the body, I'll have a few laughs. Oh, wait, you know what? Before that, gotta get this out of the way for the freaks that haven't seen it. Here's a brief summary. New York PD cop John McClane goes on a Christmas vacation to visit his wife Holly in Los Angeles, where she works for the Nakatomi Corporation. While they are at the Nakatomi headquarters for a Christmas party, and there you go, with the Christmas setting. It's during a Christmas party. A group of robbers led by Hans Gruber, freaking great name, take control of the building and hold everyone hostage, with the exception of John, while they plan to perform a lucrative heist. Unable to escape, and with no immediate police response, John is forced to take matters into his own hands. And that description is one of the reasons why it's great, because it's not quite an everyman, because he's still a cop, but it's not, he's more grounded while having tons of personality, and because that's really what you want. It's an entertaining movie. It's not supposed to be like some documentary. So he's got to be, charming, and he still has stakes, but things, he's skilled and says one-liners and stuff because it's a movie. And Bruce Willis kills it, obviously. There's great stuff written in the movie. But that's one of the attractive things about it, is because it's not to put down, Schwarzenegger and Stallone, because all their movies are awesome too. That's part of the thing that's attractive about Die Hard, is he's not some muscled up freak, if you want to say, for lack of a better word. He's more of a normal guy who just happens to be a cop in that position, going through the motions. And he has some help from the outside. Very awesome setup. And just a little more preface, it was nominated for 4 Academy Awards: Best Sound, Best Film Editing, Best Effects, Sound Effects, Best Effects, Visual Effects. Didn't win any of them, unfortunately. I'd say well deserved. So let's get into what John McTiernan has to say about why Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Is talk to you about how Die Hard became a Christmas movie. Because it's actually the same reason that every shot is what it is. Every shot is what it is because I always had a hard time doing master medium close-up shooting. I never did it. Telling a story is not a random access activity. There is a particular word in a particular order, a particular place that's the right word. And if it's a movie, there is the right shot. And you got any nerve, you'll at least try to figure out what the right shot is. It's sort of like master medium close-up. We always seem to be like fast food, which has nothing to do with food or with being fast. It has to do with being able to sell food without paying a food preparer. So what you do is you reduce the menu to something that a machine can put out, run by a medium wage employee. And you compensate for the poverty of the menu with advertising. Now, if you think that the food industry is the only place where that shows up, you're crazy.
I also say I didn't actually watch this beforehand. He's kind of rambling here, but let's keep watching.
If you, for instance, go to the Louvre, which is as close as we have as of the compendium of all of the representational arts for our species, all 45.
Obviously, this is much later. He's old.
And almost all of it is advertising for kings. Really. It's about the king's giant beard. It's about his incredible sword. It's about how cool his hunting dog is. And the scratchers on stone and the daubers of paint had to satisfy themselves with saying, boy, that's a beautiful cat I have done on the side of the king's tomb or on the side of the king's whatever. If you go to the Louvre and it's basic movie technology, walk fast. It's perseveration, persistence of vision. Walk fast enough that the pictures go by you very quickly. And what you'll see is, forgive me, that stick man of history walk. And you'll see when he stops and when he tries to turn around. And in about 1770, 1780, there was a paint dauber in France named David. Major works are not very good. But the stuff he did for money on the side was portraits. And what he did was he endowed these people that he did portraits of with faces that were trustworthy, were intelligent, were thoughtful, with deep eyes. They were noble people, although they weren't royalty, and that was the point. And they weren't even, for the most part, even necessarily rich. And that was, in effect, the king's losing control.
All right, John, get to the point.
Of the
Good
content,
God.
That the paint daubers were doing. And within 20 years of there, the people of a major European nation took the king out and killed him. They had the courage to do it, not because they were trying to substitute another king, but because they were trying to say that human beings should not have a king. And it was all in David's painting for 20 years before. So, what does this have to do with Die Hard?
Yeah.
Okay. Die Hard was a terrorist movie. Joel sent me the script 3-4 times, Joel Silver. And it was about these horrible leftist terrorists who come into sort of the Valhalla of capitalism, Los Angeles, and they bring their guns and their evil ways, and they shoot up on people just celebrating Christmas. Terrible people, awful people. And it was really about the stern face of authority stepping in to put things right again. You know, it was, are you feeling lucky, punk? Remember that shot? It's not in Die Hard, but you remember that shot. And that's the essence of, it was the essence of authoritarianism. And I kept saying to Joel, I don't want to make that. I said, think about Christmas movies. The one I'd want to talk about is the one from the previous generation. It's a Wonderful Life. Specifically, the Potterville sequence, which is what happens when the evil banker gets to do what he wants in the community without Jimmy Stewart getting in the way to stop it. And it's the clearest demonstration and criticism of runaway, unregulated cowboy capitalism that's ever done in an American movie. It was imagination then, but now it's, you know, you go out in most of the country, it's the life people live. And I wondered, how did that wind up in a Christmas movie? And the answer came back like screaming. Because it was in a Christmas movie, you fool. So I went to Joel and I said, okay, if you want me to make this terrorist movie, I want to make it where the hero, in the first scene, when the limo driver apologizes that he's never driven a limo before, the hero says, it's all right, I've never ridden in a limo before.
What do we do now?
Was hoping you could tell me.
Oh, don't want to have that in there. As much as I would like to show that.
As hero. And Joel understood what I meant. And he said, okay. And so we started to work on it. And I've had this same conversation with other producers or similar conversations with other producers afterwards. And they often don't remember the essence of the conversation. They don't look forward. But Joel wasn't like that. Joel was smart, look forward. And in spite of his prodigious efforts to convince us all otherwise, he's actually underneath a moral man. So he had the nerve to follow through with it too, so that we could actually make the movie we've been talking about. And other people started to catch on that this was a movie where the hero was a real human being. And it sort of, the whisper got around that this was a movie that had escaped, where the content had escaped and was in control of the paint daubers. And Steve D'Souza was the writer completely and got it. He understood. And Chuck Dagovia, the designer, understood. And Bruce came to understand in his way. And Jan de Bont completely got it. And in fact, everybody, as they came to work on the movie, began to get, as I said, this idea of this movie's an escapee. And there was a joy in it. Well, people my age grew up, came to adulthood worrying about politics, thinking about politics, trying to study it, trying to understand it. And going around in my head, which is actually from Micah. It's the essence of authoritarianism. All
right, so essentially, oh my God, in that very long-winded monologue he was giving, he was trying to do it from the beginning. I know that's kind of been some debate that, like, it's not a Christmas movie, it was just set during this time, blah, blah. Well, no. Apparently from the get-go, that was all part of the plan. I mean, obviously that's something you're talking, yeah, it's going to be set during Christmas and blah, blah, blah. But it's not just like a background thing. It was like, that's part of the movie. It has to be set during Christmas. There's elements from, like he mentioned, It's a Wonderful Life that I want to put in here, and that requires Christmas. And so it's undisputably a Christmas movie for anyone who doesn't think that, but it's not just a Christmas movie. It's the best Christmas movie. And he clearly had a lot of thought put into it. It's not just like a mindless action movie. As you heard from that very long monologue, he's talking about kings and the Louvre and whatever else he was jabbering on about in the beginning. I do understand, but like he could have said that in a much shorter period. And anyone who doesn't know John McTiernan as a director, he also made Predator before Die Hard. That was his directly previous movie. The Hunt for Red October, Medicine Man, Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance. So one of the Die Hard sequels, The Thomas Crown Affair, 13th Warrior, Rollerball, Basic. And Basic was his last film. So he actually didn't make that much, which is kind of sad because Predator and Die Hard are awesome, and he made those back to back. Hunt for Red October is pretty good. Last Action Hero, I need to give that another shot, but honestly, I started watching it and I didn't finish it. Doesn't necessarily mean because it was bad. It's just one of those movies where I wasn't super invested, where I'm like, oh, I gotta see what's happening. I still need to finish it. The Thomas Crown Affair, I like that movie. But yeah, I'd say Predator and Die Hard, his best by far. Rollerball is kind of a stinker, but I remember I liked it when it, but my taste has changed. But I remember liking it when it first came out. Yeah, that's, man, he hasn't made something since 2003. That sucks. Apparently he's just isolated in a mountain cabin now. But yes, it's not just opinion, it's fact. It's a Christmas movie. Yeah, as far as the cast, it's pretty well known, but Bruce Willis, obviously, he's the lead. This was like one of his, well, definitely his first like big movie as him as a lead. It was one of his first movie roles. He was mainly known for TV before Die Hard. Absolutely murdered it. He was meant for that role. And Alan Rickman, R.I.P., obviously, is in it. He played Hans Gruber. Epic villain, epic performance, epic actor in general. Reginald Vell Johnson plays Sergeant Al Powell from Family Matters. He was great in the movie, too. Really liked his role. And he had a good character arc, too, which came full circle at the end. Which, you know, obviously not every supporting character like that gets, but he did, which was a nice touch. And I found an interview, which I found interesting, with Alexander Godunov, who plays one of the villains, Carl. He's the guy who's like, I want blood. I just thought it was interesting that he was interviewed. I don't know if he was like a famous Swedish guy or something, or whatever he is. Let me find out. End of the former Soviet Union. I don't know what he is, but he looks Swedish. Could be Russian or something. Sounds like he's Russian. Yeah, I don't know if he was like famous at the time or something, because I just thought he would be like, you know, the henchman who just gets, I mean, he has a bigger role. He doesn't get killed till the end. And actually, Al Powell is the one who finishes him off at the end. I mean, he was the number 2 villain, so a couple fight scenes, awesome fight scene. Basically, I don't know if he would have been interviewed if this movie was made in modern times. But we'll get some little snippets of some other interviews. That's the one with that guy. Some Bruce Willis action here. And this episode is going to be probably shorter than my other ones, mainly because this was more of an episode designed to be, you know, my audience is still growing, building, hopefully. And this was an episode meant more for that, for interaction, talking about all of us, you know, chiming in, Christmas movies, mainly focused on Die Hard. And it's not as focused as my other ones, my other live streams, explorations. This was more of just kind of like, hey, it's Christmas. How you guys doing? Here's a little thing I made, and we're talking about Die Hard and hanging out. And it was supposed to be before Christmas, but again, like I mentioned, I got sick, and I still would have done it, but my voice was literally destroyed. Like, I couldn't even... you could start hearing it towards the end of my last one. It was right after I did that the next day, like, my voice was hoarse.
Have a heck of a hit on your hands.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Oh,
back when Bruce still had hair.
Just a dynamite picture, and
Yeah, it's very exciting.
we saw it with an audience, and you would have thought it was the Texas OU game, and Texas won.
Yeah, it was like it was an event. It was I've never experienced that. I've never seen anything like that. People were yelling, screaming, and you know, cheering. It was very rewarding.
Why the beard now?
This is for a film that I'm starting next Thursday.
Too bad,
And
Bruce.
this
You
is-
just can't find it.
Again, I want to say, and I've mentioned it with all of James Cameron's films, except for the ones I've seen, obviously, but this is another movie I wish I could have seen in theaters, just because it's different now. I mean, it's just different. The whole feeling is different. Action movies, even when they try to boil them down to like simple, like, we're going to make the modern, you know, whatever you want, Die Hard, or I don't think they even make Commando or Predator. They don't make movies like that anymore. But even if they were like, we're going to make just a straight up action movie, and it's like, it's just not the same. It's not the same. It just doesn't feel like this if you watch it now compared to stuff that's John Wick or Extraction and stuff, everything's too like technical and coordinated and gun kung fu and stuff. It's not like dirty and raw anymore. It's like which is good for stunts, I guess. You can really show what you can do, but I don't know. They're like afraid to make a movie like this now because it's like, that's boring. We got to have guys like do unrealistic fight scenes that are super choreographed, and I don't know. I just wish I could have seen a movie like this.
These days.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very, very difficult, Bobby. No, I actually have to appear on camera with this exact look next Thursday, so I have to. So we had to kind of shoot it like this now.
You are in this movie, Bruce, if you don't mind the comparisons. Put up with me while I do this. But you're Rambo, you're Superman, you're Schwarzenegger, all rolled into one. Now, what happens if you kind of get stuck into that image? People like it so much that that's what they want to see you do every time.
Well, I really choose my films to satisfy myself. I don't really concern myself with what I think the audience wants. With Die Hard, I chose the role actually because I wanted to play against those other characters you mentioned.
Yep.
I think John McClane.
Get with the program, Bobby Wygrant.
Is the opposite of a superhero. He's not invincible. He's a very vulnerable guy. He's capable of being afraid and of making mistakes and feeling pain. And I think that's part of the reason the audience has responded so well to this film. It's about somebody that they know. It's not about this kind of larger than life character. It certainly is an action film. It's an adventure. It's like this roller coaster ride. But I chose this part because of the dignity of this guy. Because he I know someone like that. And I may do other action films. I don't know.
You may do a sequel to this one.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Towards the end of your career, that's all you
Somebody
did.
had that
straight to video
idea.
one.
To not by how much money the film makes.
One shot, one take.
One shot, 4 cameras. I did a lot of stuff.
You know.
I should hope not.
What is it like? I mean, making your first film is an experience anyway, but to make your film debut in something like this, was this just a terrorizing experience for you, or what was it like?
No, I didn't feel terrorized. I actually quite like to be scared. But I was not even scared, but I like the idea of jumping off a cliff. I like a bit of danger to be involved in the work, some size to the challenge. So that was definitely there because it was such a big movie to be involved in, and the challenge was inside that big kind of broad adventure movie to make a person live in the middle of it.
I'm sorry. You did some of your own stunts, didn't you?
Yeah, the moment where he falls
I did all of them
to his death.
Well, what did
That was an actual
you do?
fall.
What do you
blue screen,
consider
whatever,
the
to a pad, but he
most
actually did
dangerous
fall.
one you did? The amount of
did it get faster?
That's what to talk about right there.
no, did you get extra money for that? Was Bruce a big help to you in the scenes you had with him?
Yeah, he was great because he knows exactly what he's doing, and that if you've got somebody who you can just see is confident on the set, and also off, when the cameras aren't rolling, just watching somebody who handles that situation as well as he does, handles his relationship with the crew.
It's also my understanding that the moment, see if I can pull something up here, the moment where he bumps into John McClane and starts speaking without his accent and then pretends to be a hostage, that wasn't in the, or that exact version wasn't in the script because the the fact that he starts talking, you know, in an American accent, he just could do that, and they kind of added it in there. Let's see if I can find a thing here. I just came across a thing. Bruce Willis received an unheard of $5 million fee for this movie. That is, especially since this, you know, he wasn't like a huge star before this movie. Good on him. Yeah, there it is. Reared its head a little bit. Okay, I'm not finding it. Come back to it. I want to hear what this guy has to say.
Well, Alexander, we have never met before, but I have long admired your career as a dancer, and you as a dancer, and now I'm admiring you as an actor.
Thank you.
And your performance in this movie is really something, is dynamite. Just great. Is this a role as far as all this action and everything? Do you really enjoy doing all of that?
Well, I enjoyed, and I had fun, and it's interesting.
When they approached you, did they tell you all that you'd be going through as far as the action?
No. I bumped to Joel Silver, the producer at the party, and he said, Alexander Goodenough, yes, would you like to play a villain, bad guy, or whatever? I said, well, may I read the script? Sure, I'll send it tomorrow. So I read the script, I liked the script, I liked the story. And then we met, and I said, well, my character is sort of just holding a gun, running around, nothing else. I don't know. And we talked, and we sort of build up the character in terms of my brother, who Bruce Willis is killing him. And so there.
Interesting. So he was known as sort of a. I don't want to downplay his thing. I don't know anything about it, but he was known as a dancer before. Very interesting.
A little background, and I thought, well, why not? Let's go and try. I never done.
So John McTiernan, or the casting director, saw this guy dance and was like, "That guy looks like an incredible Russian terrorist. Hey, I like your dancing. You want to play a Russian terrorist or a German terrorist?" That reminds me of what is that? It's like, I think it's a Seth Rogen movie where they're talking to some guy who's like a therapist or something, and he's like, "Why do you look like you're I forgot what he says, but he references Die Hard, and because the guy looks like this guy. Some people just look like villains. Oh my God, I'm still not finding it. Let's hear a little bit from Reginald.
Die Hard.
Yes.
I hope you have a percentage of this picture.
Because, do you have points? No, I don't have any points, but I hope it's a big hit. I'll do the sequel. I'll get points in the sequel.
There you go. There
right.
you go. Now you're talking. Your role is really a pivot.
Okay, I found the exact, so I don't get it wrong. The scene in which McGruber, Gruber and McClane meet was inserted in the script after Alan Rickman was found to be proficient at American accents. The filmmakers had been looking for a way to have the two characters meet prior to the climax and capitalized on Rickman's talent. I mean, obviously that scene's great and it totally works. I always thought his accent did sound weird. Or maybe it's just the way he delivers it, because I've heard him have an American accent and sound fine. I don't know. But the scene where he falls at the end, he was really dropped from 40 feet onto an airbag with a blue screen cover. So he really fell 40 feet. That's pretty substantial. and when he was released, his reaction to falling, he was released early from the count, so he had a genuine reaction of not expecting to fall, which worked perfectly.
Pivot characters, and it was interesting to me because I wonder, as an actor, how you handled it. You're talking with Bruce, but there is no physical presence of Bruce.
That's true.
So how was that? Were you just talking to some AD off camera or what?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was talking to a script girl who was dressed up to look like Bruce. As a matter of fact,
now you're kidding me.
Well, no, I'm kidding you. Yes, but it was sort of like that. I mean, unfortunately, he wasn't able to be there for me because his time was limited with this and jockeying back and forth between Moonlighting and another production he was working on. So I had him a couple of days, but there were a lot of times I didn't have him, and I understood that before I did it. But what was helpful was that I had a very good director, John McTiernan, who kind of like guided me through each and every frame of the film that needed to be, that I had to talk with Bruce with, and he made it easier because he's the kind of director that really makes you realize what is happening, and that was helpful. And my training and my theater training and theater background also helped a lot, So it was difficult, but I did do it.
Then when you saw it with Bruce's voice in there, did you have any feelings about, I might have said that a little differently had I known he was going to respond like that?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. I sat there both nights watching it and said, well, I would have done it different. I wish I had time to do it differently again, And you don't really have to, you just have to rely on your own best judgment. You have to say, well, that you make the right choices, and and that's when the director and the cameramen come in, and the cinematographer and all those people come in to help you make those right decisions. And I didn't make.
That's an example of kind of trusting someone else's judgment, or just those feelings you might have, like him talking as an actor, like, I wish I would have done it differently, based on what he did. It's a completely natural thing, and the funny thing though is, like, when you're so far removed, being just the audience, have nothing to do with making the movie, you see what they did, and you wouldn't even think like, hey, shouldn't he have reacted differently to what he said, because everything was great. I mean, I'm sure there's cases where maybe that you can pick stuff out, but not in Die Hard. And he was great. His arc, where he had shot a kid on accident, and at the end of the movie he has to use his gun to put the villain down. His character was great. Had a great arc too, and some funny moments. And his interactions with McClane were, a big part of the movie, almost like the heart of the movie. And when they reunite at the end, it was a great moment. Or when they not reunite, when they see each other in person for the first time. But I came across the fact that Paul Verhoeven was offered to direct this, which that would have been very interesting if he did that, directed this instead of McTiernan. Obviously, I wouldn't want that, but I am a huge Verhoeven fan, and it just would have been a completely different movie. It would have been a hard R, way more bloody, and people getting fucking ripped up with blood packs. And if you've seen his Hollywood movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. RoboCop, for example, which you kind of forget if you hadn't seen RoboCop, the original one, in a while, like how hardcore that movie is in terms of the violence and the blood and the political satire and all that. But yeah, it would have been that would also would have been interesting if you would have tried to insert that somehow into the Die Hard story. I don't know how he quite would have done that, but yeah, totally different movie. And because he didn't do this, he did Total Recall, which is also an awesome movie, awesome Schwarzenegger movie. And yeah, you can best believe I'll be doing the same thing I'm doing with James Cameron with Paul Verhoeven at some point, at least his Hollywood movies. I don't know if I'll go into his the stuff he's doing now, just because I'm sure that's great. I haven't seen any of them. I know he's gotten a lot of acclaim for a lot of the movies he's made internationally, if you will. But that's not. I like his Hollywood, 90s, 80s, and 90s stuff. That's who he is. to me. Like, I love that style, all those films he made during that time. But the yeah, Die Hard, it's fucking great, man. It's the best Christmas movie of all time, like I've already said. It's super entertaining, very well made, very well acted, has a satisfying conclusion, satisfying, builds, character arcs and dramas and relationships, and audience moments where you would cheer, if you will. Awesome score, awesome sound effects, fight scenes, everything. It's got everything you would want in an action movie and Christmas movie. It's should be at the top of everyone's list. And like I said, it's indisputably a Christmas movie, and it's the best one. Just show a couple more things here. And again, I wish John McTiernan was still making stuff. Then again, that's not always a good thing, when directors just never stop, like Ridley Scott. I mean, he does it to such a high level where it's like they're still watchable, but it's not, like his prime stuff. But it's like, it's very hard, even Spielberg, very hard for these iconic directors, talented directors, to keep making stuff when they're old and have it be as good as they're old, they're what they're known for. Very few examples. And then you have people that are conscious like that, like Tarantino, which is why he's saying that he's going to make one more movie and stop, because he doesn't want to be known as one of those directors that never stops and starts making trash. But I'll say at the same time, like, I get that, like, wanting to protect your legacy and whatever, but it's also just the love of doing it. Like, that's why Ridley Scott's doing it. Not so much where he's, like, got something to prove, or he just loves doing it. He doesn't, it's not so much about, like, I got to have this awesome legacy where all these films are known as amazing. It's like he just loves to make movies, so he's just going to keep doing it. Literally, I don't think he's ever going to stop. He's going to keep doing it until one day you hear news stories. Ridley Scott passed away, heart attack, or whatever it ends up being. He's going to be shooting a movie while it happens. I guarantee it. His last movie, he's going to, like, have directed half of it. He's never going to stop. I can't believe that guy makes like 5 films a year and directs them. And he's still producing stuff, It's insane. He's in his 80s. Then again, Clint Eastwood, pretty sure he's still making stuff, and he's in his 90s. But, he's not Ridley Scott level where he's 5 films a year still. All right, well, I think we've established what the best Christmas movie is. And if you still don't get it, you can rewatch my little thing. You'll get it. Die Hard. John McTiernan, Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman. R.I.P. to both of them, Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman, because Bruce is dead in terms of filmmaking, so he's still alive, but he's got dementia, sadly, to the point where, obviously, if you know anything about that, he literally can't work anymore. And, yeah, it's always sad to see. Dementia is a terrible thing. It's like cancer of the brain. Sucks. Both amazing actors. The director, again, for the fifth time, he is retired, and essentially, I don't think he's going to make anything ever again. But maybe he comes out of retirement like Terrence Malick did, so we can only hope. And just want to reiterate, I hope everyone had a great Christmas. I sure did. I can only hope that this keeps growing so that episodes like this can have more of a impact, because it'll do whatever it does once the live ends, but an episode like this especially is meant for people to be here live interacting and talking about Christmas movies. I can't bounce off myself here when it's an episode like this. So, and I don't say that to, it's literally just to, for anyone who happens to come across it, that things are only going to improve and get better. So stick with me, and if you are, thank you, appreciate it. More to come. Titanic's my next movie exploration. It's gonna be next week. It's scheduled for Thursday, but you know how things are going, sicknesses, whatever. Who knows? I want to stick to it, but if it's not Thursday, then you know maybe Sunday or the. I don't even want to say that. It's Thursday. It's happening. Titanic's my next one. You can guess what's next after that. Can't wait for that. I got some good plan for that one. So with that being said, have a merry after Christmas. And there's only one thing left to say. Besides, I love all of you. Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over. What are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?